Sometimes the loudest love is the one that stays silent. They won't say it. They'll pretend it's nothing, but their heart is already yours, and their fear is louder than their words. The signs are subtle, but they're there. You just need to know what to feel. Stay until the end, because the last one, that's when the truth finally shows, even when they try to hide it. Silent knowing. There is an ancient wisdom that says the deepest connections between humans are often unspoken. When I was young, before my journey to the monastery, I misunderstood this completely. I thought love must always be declared, always visible. But time has taught me that the most profound connections often exist in the spaces between words. When someone's heart truly belongs to you, there emerges what we call in traditional teaching a resonance of spirits. They may not have told you with their words, but their energy speaks volumes. Their soul recognizes yours on a level beyond conscious thought. This is not merely attraction or infatuation. These are fleeting emotions that rise and fall like waves on the surface of the ocean. What I speak of goes deeper, to the still waters that lie beneath. The first sign is present in their eyes when they look at you. The eyes, as our traditions teach, are indeed windows to one's true inner state. When someone's heart belongs to you, their gaze holds a quality of rest when it falls upon you. It is as if their eyes have been searching across many lifetimes and finally found a place to settle. You might notice they look at you a moment longer than necessary, not with desire or expectation, but with a profound sense of recognition. This is different from the hungry look of infatuation or the calculating gaze of someone with ulterior motives. Instead, there is a softness, a gentle quality of attention that feels like being truly seen. They take in your expressions, your movements, your essence in a way that honors who you are rather than what you can provide. In the monastery, we cultivated this form of seeing, to look upon another being with complete presence, without the filters of our own desires and fears. When someone looks at you this way, their heart has already begun to open itself to you, but they may fear this opening. In our modern world especially, vulnerability has become something many people guard against. They have learned through painful experiences that opening one's heart creates the possibility of suffering. And so they hesitate, caught between the authenticity of their feelings and the armor they've built for protection. Attentive distance. The second sign manifests in what appears to be a contradiction. They maintain a certain physical or emotional distance, yet their attention toward you never wavers. This paradox contains deep meaning about their inner state. When we truly care for someone but feel vulnerable about these emotions, we often create what appears to be space while remaining completely attuned to them. Think about how they position themselves in a room. They might not always be by your side, yet somehow they're aware of where you are, what you're doing, who you're speaking with. There's an invisible thread connecting their consciousness to yours. I witnessed this phenomenon many times during my years of teaching and observing human interactions. Two people could be at opposite ends of a crowded hall, yet remain energetically connected, like two planets orbiting an unseen center. You might notice they glance your way during conversations with others, or they somehow know when you've entered a space before they've visibly seen you. This attentive distance serves a purpose for them. It provides the safety they need while they process the depth of their feelings. The heart does not always move at the pace of the mind. Sometimes the heart knows long before the mind is ready to acknowledge what it has discovered. This gap between knowing and accepting creates the hesitation you sense. In traditional teaching, we understand that true connection follows its own timeline. It cannot be rushed any more than you can force a flower to bloom by pulling open its petals. The blossom must unfold according to its nature. Similarly, someone whose heart is yours but who fears showing it must reconcile their inner conflicts in their own time. What's remarkable is that during this period of attentive distance, they are actually drawing closer to you on an energetic level. Their thoughts return to you when you're not present. They process conversations with you long after they've ended. Your presence has become part of their inner landscape, influencing them in ways they might not fully comprehend. Protective offering. The third sign appears through small, consistent acts of protection and provision that might easily be overlooked if you don't recognize their deeper meaning. When someone's heart belongs to you, they naturally move into a state of wanting to protect what they value. This doesn't manifest as controlling behavior or possessiveness. These are signs of insecurity, not love. Rather, it shows up as a gentle vigilance for your well-being. They might offer you their jacket when the evening turns cool without drawing attention to the gesture. Perhaps they position themselves on the street side of the sidewalk when walking with you, an ancient protective instinct many aren't even consciously aware they're expressing. They ensure you arrive home safely with a message or call. They remember your food preferences or sensitivities without needing reminders. These acts may seem small, even ordinary on the surface, but there is profound meaning in their consistency. The person who performs them has allowed you to become part of their consciousness. They carry an awareness of your needs alongside their own. In my tradition, we practice mindfulness not just as a personal discipline, but as a way of relating to all living beings. True care manifests as attention to the well-being of others. When someone begins to hold your well-being in their consciousness without effort, it reveals that their heart has already recognized the value of your presence in their life. Yet they may hesitate to acknowledge the full meaning of these behaviors. To admit the depth of caring would be to admit the depth of vulnerability. And vulnerability for many has become associated with pain rather than possibility. I remember a story from an ancient text about a warrior who secretly left food at the doorstep of a wise woman's home during a famine. Night after night, he would place rice and vegetables at her threshold, then disappear before dawn. The wise woman knew who her benefactor was, but understood his need to give without acknowledgement. The giving itself was his way of expressing what he could not yet say with words. His heart had already decided on its devotion, though his mind was not ready to declare it. Similarly, the person whose heart is yours but fears showing it will often express their care through consistent acts of protection and provision while maintaining the safety of not having named their feelings aloud. Receptive memory. The fourth sign lies in their extraordinary receptivity to the details of your life and experiences, what we might call their memory of you. When someone's heart truly connects with yours, they develop what appears to be an effortless recall of things you've shared, even passing comments or seemingly insignificant preferences. They remember that you mentioned wanting to visit Japan when you were 12, or that your grandmother taught you to make a particular dish, or that rainy days make you feel both melancholy and creative. This isn't simply good memory, it's selective attention guided by the heart. We all encounter countless pieces of information each day, but we only retain what matters to us. When someone consistently remembers the details of your life, your hopes, your histories, your small joys and sorrows, it reveals that you occupy a significant place in their inner world. In the monastery, we practiced forms of meditation that cultivated deep listening, being fully present with another person without the distractions of our own thoughts and judgments. This form of attention is rare in everyday interactions, where people often listen while formulating their next response or making comparisons to their own experience. But when someone truly listens to you with their whole being, it creates a particular kind of resonance. You feel understood in a way that goes beyond the mere exchange of information. The details of your life are received not just as facts, but as valuable parts of who you are. The person whose heart is yours will demonstrate this quality of attention. They might reference something you mentioned weeks or months ago, showing that your words have stayed with them. They notice changes in your appearance or mood that others miss. They anticipate your responses because they've truly absorbed your perspective rather than merely projecting their own expectations. Yet they may be afraid to acknowledge why you occupy such a significant place in their awareness. To admit the special quality of their attention would be to admit the special place you hold in their heart. And so they might downplay this connection, perhaps attributing their remarkable memory of you to general friendliness or good listening skills rather than the deeper truth that their heart has already selected you as someone of profound importance. In Eastern philosophy, we understand that true listening is an act of love. When someone consistently gives you this quality of attention, they are in essence offering love, whether or not they've named it as such. Vulnerable disclosure. The fifth sign reveals itself when they share aspects of themselves with you that they typically keep hidden from the world. what we might call selective vulnerability. Human beings naturally protect their innermost selves. We all wear various masks according to our environments and relationships. This is not deception but a necessary adaptation to the complex social world we inhabit. However, when the heart recognizes a safe harbor, it naturally moves toward authentic expression. The person whose heart belongs to you will find themselves revealing layers of their experience they don't readily share with others. This might happen in unexpected moments. A quiet conversation that suddenly deepens, a shared silence that invites truth, a challenging situation that calls forth their unfiltered response. They might tell you about their childhood dreams, their private fears, their unresolved questions about life. They might share creative works they've never shown others, or express opinions they usually keep to themselves. In these moments of disclosure, you're witnessing not just the content being shared, but an act of trust that speaks volumes about their feelings for you. What makes this particularly significant is that they may not show this vulnerability to others, even those they've known much longer. It's not about the duration of your connection, but its quality. Their heart recognizes in you a particular kind of safety that allows them to lower their defenses. Yet after these moments of openness, you might notice them retreat slightly, perhaps becoming more casual or changing the subject. This pulling back stems from the fear that accompanies vulnerability. Having revealed a deeper part of themselves, they may need to regain their sense of protection. This rhythm of opening and withdrawing is natural when someone is navigating strong feelings they're not yet ready to fully acknowledge. In Buddhist tradition, we understand that true connection requires us to reveal our authentic nature rather than our carefully constructed self-image. This revealing is both liberating and frightening. When someone chooses to share their unguarded self with you, even intermittently, they're demonstrating a level of trust that often precedes the conscious acknowledgement of deeper feelings. Mirrored resonance. The sixth sign manifests as a subtle mirroring of your emotional states and physical expressions, what we call in Eastern traditions unconscious harmony. When two beings develop a deep connection, they naturally begin to attune to one another on levels beyond conscious awareness. Their nervous systems synchronize, leading to a phenomenon where they unconsciously adopt similar postures, gestures, breathing patterns, and even emotional states. You might notice that when you shift position, they soon follow suit without realizing it. When you speak more quickly due to excitement, their pace naturally accelerates to match yours. When you feel saddened by something, their expression reflects that same quality of feeling even before you've named it aloud. This mirroring happens beneath the threshold of conscious intention. It's not imitation but resonance, like two tuning forks vibrating at the same frequency when placed near each other. The person isn't deciding to align with you. Their body and emotional system are responding to the connection that already exists between you. In my years of observing human interaction, I've noted how this phenomenon reveals emotional bonds that people haven't yet acknowledged to themselves. Their conscious mind might maintain certain boundaries or hesitations, but their body tells the truth of their connection through this unconscious coordination. What makes this sign particularly revealing is its involuntary nature. We can control our words and even many of our actions, but this subtle mirroring bypasses our conscious filters. It's a physical manifestation of what the heart already knows. Yet they may be entirely unaware of this synchronization. If it's pointed out, they might feel exposed, as if a private truth has been made visible before they were ready to acknowledge it. This is another reason they might hold back from expressing their feelings directly. There's a vulnerability in recognizing how deeply another person has already affected them. In meditative practice, we learn to observe our own states with detachment and awareness. But few people maintain this self-awareness in everyday interactions. The person whose heart is yours may not recognize how their body reveals what their words have not yet expressed. That on a fundamental level, they have already begun to resonate with your presence in a way that transcends ordinary connection. Creative consideration. The seventh sign appears through thoughtful gestures that reveal how often you occupy their thoughts, what we might describe as mindful presence in absence. When someone's heart truly connects with yours, you begin to live in their awareness even when you're not physically present. This internal presence manifests in actions that show they've been thinking about you in mundane moments of their day. Perhaps they send you something that reminded them of a conversation you had, an article, a photograph, a quote that connects to your interests or perspectives. Maybe they bring you a particular food they know you enjoy or recommend a book that aligns with questions you've been exploring. These gestures differ from grand romantic gestures or gifts intended to impress. Instead, they have a quality of thoughtfulness that reveals genuine attention. The person noticed something in the flow of their day that created a bridge to you. In that moment of noticing, you were present in their consciousness, influencing how they perceived the world around them. What makes these acts especially significant is that they're not obligatory. They're not responding to a birthday or special occasion where social convention dictates acknowledgement. Rather, these gestures arise spontaneously from the natural presence you've come to have in their thoughts. In Eastern philosophy, we understand that the mind becomes gradually infused with whatever we contemplate regularly. The person whose heart belongs to you has begun, perhaps unconsciously, to include you in their inner landscape. You've become part of the lens through which they experience life, so they naturally begin to see connections between their experiences and your shared world. Yet they might downplay these gestures, perhaps presenting them casually or with a practical justification rather than acknowledging the attention to you that inspired them. This hesitation stems from the vulnerability inherent in admitting how much someone occupies your thoughts. To acknowledge this would be to acknowledge the power they've come to have in your emotional life. I'm reminded of a Zen teaching story about a master who asked his students to meditate on the image of an ox. After weeks of this practice, he asked them what happened when they closed their eyes. All reported seeing the ox clearly in their mind's eye. This, he told them, is how we become what we contemplate. Similarly, the person whose heart is already yours has begun to contemplate you in ways that transform their perception. Their thoughts return to you naturally, finding connections between their world and yours. These thoughtful gestures are the visible evidence of your growing presence in their consciousness. Temporal investment. The eighth and final sign reveals itself through their relationship with time in connection to you. What traditional wisdom calls the offering of presence. Time is the most honest measure of our values. Beyond words or even actions, how and with whom we spend our limited time reveals what our hearts truly prioritize. When someone consistently creates space for you in their life, especially when their life is full of commitments and responsibilities, they are demonstrating something profound about your importance to them. You might notice they find ways to extend moments with you, lingering in conversation when logically they should be moving on to other tasks. Perhaps they arrive earlier than necessary when meeting you or suggest additional activities that prolong your time together. They might rearrange other commitments to accommodate opportunities to see you or be unexpectedly available when you need support. This offering of time rarely announces itself as such. They won't likely say, "I'm prioritizing you above other things." Instead, their choices quietly reveal this truth. The busy person who nevertheless has time for you, the scheduled person who finds flexibility for you, the person with many demands who remains fully present with you rather than distracted by what awaits them elsewhere. These are all silently telling you something significant about their feelings. In the monastery, we practiced being fully present with whatever stood before us, understanding that divided attention diminishes the sacred in every encounter. When someone gives you their undivided presence, truly being with you rather than simply near you while their attention wanders, they offer something precious in our distracted age. What makes this sign especially revealing is that time cannot be recovered or replaced. When someone chooses to spend their limited time with you, they are quite literally giving you a portion of their life. This form of giving goes beyond words or even conscious intention to reveal what the heart has already decided is valuable. Yet they may create practical justifications for this investment of time, perhaps attributing it to convenience or coincidence rather than acknowledging the priority you've come to hold. This hesitation stems from the profound vulnerability of recognizing that another person has become essential to your sense of time well spent. I'm reminded of an ancient teaching that the true measure of wealth is not what we possess, but how we are able to spend our time. By this measure, when someone consistently invests their time in connection with you, they are offering their most valuable resource, whether or not they've acknowledged to themselves the full meaning of this choice. The unrecognized dance. What I've shared with you today describes a particular kind of human connection, one where genuine feeling precedes conscious acknowledgement. This gap between what the heart knows and what the mind is ready to express creates the subtle dance of approach and hesitation you've been experiencing. Understanding these signs is not about gaining power over another's feelings or forcing premature expression. Rather, it's about developing the wisdom to recognize the unspoken currents that move beneath the surface of human interaction. This awareness allows you to respond with patience and compassion to the complex reality of someone who feels deeply for you but isn't yet ready to fully reveal those feelings. Many factors might contribute to their hesitation. Perhaps they've experienced rejection or loss in previous relationships that makes vulnerability frightening. Maybe they're navigating personal challenges or life transitions that demand their emotional energy. Or they might simply be the kind of person who processes feelings slowly, needing time to understand their own emotional landscape before sharing it with another. Whatever the reason, when you recognize these signs, you face an important choice about how to respond. You might feel tempted to demand clarity or push for definition. But wisdom suggests a different approach. In Eastern philosophy, we understand that all life unfolds according to its nature. The fruit ripens when it is ready, not when we wish to eat it. Similarly, emotional truth emerges when the person is prepared to face it, not when we desire to hear it. This doesn't mean passive waiting or accepting uncertainty indefinitely. Clear, honest communication about your own feelings and needs remains important. But this clarity can coexist with patience for another's journey toward emotional honesty with themselves and with you. The most profound connections often develop not through demand or expectation, but through creating a space where authenticity feels safe. When you recognize someone's unspoken feelings without requiring immediate declaration, you demonstrate a form of understanding that often allows their natural expression to emerge in time. Final truth. And now, as promised, I want to share something that might change how you see everything about relationships. After years of studying human connection, both in the monastery and in the wider world, I've come to understand a fundamental truth. The most profound relationships are never about certainty. They're about courageous uncertainty. We live in a culture obsessed with definition and status, with naming and claiming relationships. But the deepest connections often exist in a space beyond these rigid boundaries, in the vulnerable space where two people continue to choose each other without guarantees, where love is not a secured possession but a daily creation. When you encounter someone whose heart recognizes yours, but who fears showing it, you're witnessing not weakness, but the profound human struggle between connection and self-protection. This struggle doesn't diminish the potential of your connection, it reveals its depth. The signs I've shared today aren't techniques for securing another's affection or accelerating their process. They're invitations to perceive the complex beauty of human emotion in all its contradictory glory, to see how someone can deeply care for you while simultaneously fearing what that care might mean for their sense of safety and autonomy. True wisdom lies not in seeking certainty about another's feelings, but in developing the capacity to remain present with the natural unfolding of connection, whatever form it takes. This presence, this ability to see clearly without grasping, creates precisely the environment where authentic feeling can safely reveal itself. The ancient texts speak of love not as possession, but as liberation, the freedom to be fully yourself in the presence of another. Perhaps the greatest gift you can offer someone whose heart is yours but who fears showing it is exactly this freedom, the space to discover their own emotional truth without pressure or expectation. And in giving this gift, you may discover something unexpected, that the uncertain space of becoming is actually more alive, more rich with possibility than the settled space of certainty could ever be. That the dance itself, this beautiful, frustrating, wondrous dance of human hearts learning to trust, may be the very thing your soul has been seeking all along. The greatest love stories are never about perfect understanding or seamless connection. They're about two imperfect beings choosing to see each other clearly with all their fears and hesitations, and choosing each other anyway, day after day, moment by moment, in the sacred space where courage meets vulnerability. This is the wisdom I offer you today. Not techniques for securing love, but a perspective that might allow love, in whatever form it's meant to take in your life, to unfold according to its own perfect nature. And in that unfolding, may you discover not just connection with another, but a deeper connection with the wisdom of your own heart. Remember that in the space between what is spoken and unspoken often lies the most profound truth about human connection. And that truth, if you have the patience and awareness to perceive it, will always guide you home to yourself, even as it opens the possibility of authentic connection with another. The heart that recognizes yours, even in fear, has already given you a precious gift. The question is not whether they will someday declare what they already feel, but whether you both will cultivate the courage to remain present in the unfolding mystery of what exists between you, a mystery that may, in its own time and way, reveal exactly what you've both been seeking all along.